And you have to get up.
No, well, when it hits 25, because it'll close, so I'll get up. I'll just make reference to it and then get up.
We can always put a clip in the middle, a triathlon clip.
Bam.
Could do, yeah. I'll probably be more aware of it this time.
Yeah. Can you hear go?
Can you hear what?
Can you hear go?
Oh, you'd hear close up, yeah. It'd be loud enough, and you'll probably see the motion of it. You'll probably see it as well. And seeing as there's 6 eyes looking at it, I'd say so.
Keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye on it, literally. Right, gents, let's get going.
Here we are.
Episode 3. Hello and welcome back to the James Hempton Show. You're very welcome here this evening, or this night, should I say. We are recording. It's 9:30.
Late one.
It is a late one, and we're ready to rock and roll. And if anyone's wondering what tonight's podcast is about, it's about a triathlon I done myself and these two gentlemen sitting across the table from me. So I'm going to pass it over to them to do a little introduction. Take it away, Mr. Breen. Just a little hello,
my name is Daire Breen.
That's all.
I did a triathlon with James and Brian.
Brian here. How are you? Also did a triathlon with these two.
Of course. So, lads, we're going to get into we did do a triathlon back in August. It's only literally just been over a month. It was the 28th of August that we done it.
Yes.
A lovely Sunday morning. A beautiful Sunday morning.
It was actually, it was really nice.
It was a very nice Sunday morning. And woke up with a lot of excitement and anticipation for what was going to come. It's crazy to think it's a month already that's gone by.
We had a very busy September following it, I think.
That's true.
We went straight into Electric Picnic. That would have just almost, that's a whole different ball game.
Exactly. That was the reward for all our hard work.
Yeah. It was a good reward as well.
It was a lovely reward, yeah. Yeah, it was needed. That was the pleasure after the pain. Well, was it painful?
Yeah, it was really painful. I felt I felt it was really painful in the moment anyway.
And did you yourself, Ron?
I thoroughly enjoyed it, if I'm honest. It was obviously very hard. All of us, that was really, really tough.
Yeah.
I think I remember saying it to you two afterwards, and I was showing you a few of the clips. I actually probably enjoyed it a little too much because you even seeing some of the clips, I'm smiling my head off, jogging down the hill.
That's a good thing though.
But I think that was personally, I just loved it. But all of the grueling part, let's be honest, the swim was the hardest part. That was grueling. That's not enjoyable. That was probably the most intense thing I've ever done.
It was
potentially in a sporting background.
It was. Before we jump into the actual race, let's dive in. Nicely said. Let's do a little background into how did it come about that we decided to enter the Dublin City Triathlon.
I think you know better. It was when we couldn't do the Saturday morning with Ferruccia because it was lashing rain.
Yeah.
And there was only a few of us, so we said we go to the recovery room on Junction 6 in Blanche. Great spot.
No, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant spot.
So you go in and you have the cold water exposure, the jacuzzi, and then the sauna. And I think it was in the sauna when you were looking for something. You were
eager, Bronny. You were very eager to do something.
Well, I think what the key was that we had that month in May challenge that we swam every single day. And we obviously had a very good summer. All of us were training a lot, but there was a good bit of holidays left, right and centre. And I just felt like we needed another calendar to look at and have a challenge. Literally, what are we going to do this month was the question on my lips. It's we're coming into a new month. It's obviously last month of summer. I've obviously feeling rested. I want another challenge.
Yeah.
That was, I think, and then we put it in. It was like, guys, throw out ideas here, but I'm telling you, we need to do something big this month. that kind of way. And then
and thank God you did, man, because to be honest, I wasn't one that was all that keen on or eager. But it's great having people around you that do. It's not all the time that you're that eager to do something, but it's great when you're in a group and someone is eager to go and push themselves in a different way. It's like, okay, I want to do this as well. Because when it came about that we actually decided to do the triathlon, I remember one morning I was getting up and I was actually training you first and then training Brian after. And I remember thinking before Daire came up, I was like, I'm gonna say I'm not doing it, bro. I don't really fancy it, man. You know what I mean? And I remember coming up and within about 5 minutes, you're like, you have to do it, man. You have to do it. And at the time, we had a nice little group. It was 4 lads originally that we had, and then it kind of got whittled down to 3. But going back to that point, it's so key to surround yourself with people that will bring you up like that, because you're not always going to feel motivated in life. And it's great that you have people in the group that will push you when you need to be pushed. It's okay. I find it is anyway.
Well, that was that was probably interesting for you, because I mean, you're our sort of North Star, because you're our coach in a lot of ways, and you'll tell us, I think this will really benefit you, and we follow you, and it ends up always being that way.
Yeah.
But in that particular month, with that particular new thing that was the triathlon for all of us, new ground, roles were a little bit reversed.
They were indeed.
Not that either of us were coaching you or anything, but it was a case of Daire bought your wetsuit, I bought your goggles. It was a case of, James, you're doing this.
But this is what it's all about, man. It's about surrounding yourself with people that are only going to bring you up. You know what I mean? Because that's how it should be. That's the way I love this whole dynamic that what we have going now is like seeking more. And in that moment, I wasn't really seeking it, but someone else would push me forward, as you two men did. You know what I mean? Which, like, I'd only regret it if I hadn't have done it.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
When you threw it in to the chat, I kind of left it simmer for a day or two, and then Hugh said he was training for it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
shout out to you, Kinsa.
Yeah, I was like, well, Hugh's going to be doing it anyway. You wanted to do it. So it started getting traction, and I was thinking, all right, if I do it, surely James will do it. And then because we were doing it, then you were going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's a knock-on effect.
It's positive feedback, sort of. It's like, if you want to do it, I'll do it. It's like when you're going to do something stupid, like if you do it, I'll do it.
Exactly.
Man, it's a group dynamic. That's a great point, man. It's a group dynamic. Like, that is so true, man. If 2 out of 3 lads in the group are going to do something,
the third one's going.
You're doing it.
Yeah. You don't want to be left out.
You're ostracized if you don't.
Exactly, man. You're not in the group anymore. And that goes back to having a sense of community is so key as well. Is having that dynamic of people around you. Like I said, once again, they'll only, like you said, give you that positive feedback. So they'll push you to do things, which is so key to have. So that's kind of the background check into how we got into it. And then preparation for the event. Because
lack thereof,
mate. So, like, give us a bit of a background on how many weeks we had and what actually a sprint triathlon consisted of.
Well, I think you threw it into the chat at the very start of August, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were making the decision on literally the 1st of August. I think it was a weekend.
Yeah, so that we had 4 weeks to prepare, and it was definitely daunting. I think look, it's a 5k run at the end, which we'd be able to do a 5k run. The 20k cycle can be a bit of a push, but a 20k cycle you'll get it done. A bit of training. It was a 750 meter swim that was so scary, because none of us have swam for age. I think you did a bit of swimming when you were younger. I've never swam properly to swam.
No.
And I thought it'd be easy enough. So part of preparation, Brian and I, we went to SportsLink first, which they wanted us to have an annual subscription.
And that's not what you're looking for, only 4 weeks out.
Yeah,
it didn't
suit us.
So we went to Alsa after, and we got a month subscription, and we went in and we got into the pool. We're like, right, we do it in 5 lengths. So we get 5 in, we take a break, and then we get another 5 in.
The distance was 30 lengths, I think.
Yeah.
It would have been the equivalent of 30 was 750 meters.
And that's a 25 meter pool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. 25 meter pool, it looks doable. We're like, right, we'll get 5 lengths and we'll take a break. And after 2 or 3, we were blowing gas, completely out of energy, completely gone.
We were crying for a lifeguard after the third one. After the 3rd length, it was. I think the key part was there. We had so much enthusiasm before we got into the pool. I personally booked myself in, so I was in. I was committed. But then, after we realized how hard the swimming actually was, I was really, really concerned. Like, I was like, oh, what have we got ourselves into? Because on paper it looked manageable. We're fit guys or whatever. As soon as we got into that water, it was like, this is.
I actually remember your reaction, because there was a lot of fear around that at the time.
I was scared.
Yeah, because was the fear out of that you didn't feel like you'd complete the race because of the swim?
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah. Because we had such a short time, and it seemed kind of unmanageable, and 750 meters just at that point seemed really, really long, where it did seem manageable. All of a sudden it just got multiplied by 10, and I was thinking, there's no way I could do 30 lengths without taking a break here. How are we going to do this? And it's in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And we've already said we're going to do it, and how's that going to work?
I think we mobilised well on it, though, because it was happening. Like I think that was the one.
Yeah.
But the one thing which was kind of, I guess, we could be proud of was I don't think we ever said, oh, we might give this up. I think it was always a case of, lads, this is really hard. We need to figure out how we're going to do this.
I don't think that was ever an option, not to do. But it's a good point. It's a good point that you make as well.
Yeah.
Is
we
that
kind of laughed about it as well.
Yeah,
What have we done?
It was so daunting that it was funny, which is a great way to be, like, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
other people would crumble at a really daunting challenge.
And the thing is, because you were the first one to be in the pool, and then you just broke it down from there. It's great. Like the task of swimming 750 meters at the beginning, because you hadn't done it ever, is so daunting. And then bit by bit, you broke it down. We ended up getting swimming lessons, or I got one anyway. I don't know if
Took a slice of humble pie.
Yeah, we did big time. Yeah. And I remember learning so much because like swimming, it feels so alien to me because I hadn't done it in so many years. And you know, there's so many cues that are so key to swimming. Breathing being a massive one. Yeah. Like how to breathe in the water. Not to say that I'd done what I was told, not told to do, but taught to do on the day, because that kind of just goes out the window completely when you're actually in the water and in the race at the time. But there's so many dynamics to swimming, you know what I mean? And we did have a great teacher that day.
Yeah. No, she was brilliant with us, and I think that can be a daunting thing for adults to do, is to go and get a swimming lesson, because it's like, you know, like, of course you know how to swim, but like, no, we did not know how to swim
at all.
She was teaching kids before, like they had kids in. We're 4 lads lined up. Right, you're next. We're like, oh, we look like 4 clowns, like.
But we done it, and we took so much from it though.
We needed to do it.
We did. We definitely so.
I think if you look at the footage of the swim, like I have a few clips of me and Daire. I don't know if you were caught on camera, but it's like all of the technique was out the window, but at the same time, it contributed so much to our training. Like, you know, if you bring it, I know we'll probably move on to this, like, we needed to break it down and put ourselves in a real race type situation, and we started to go to Tower Bay then, which is obviously the beach down the road.
Do you mean Tower Bay or
Tower Beach?
Tower Beach,
Oh,
yeah.
As Google Maps would say.
I think it was a lad boy that said that, was it?
Oh yeah, best beaches in Dublin or something. Yeah.
Hope they get the name wrong, so no one shows up.
Dreadful, man.
But you did make a great point there, Bruno. Yeah, breaking it down, man, and like just swimming to the boys. I remember the sense of satisfaction, because I'd never done that, and it's quite daunting when you're actually. It's a crazy feeling when you're swimming and you're in the sea. Talk about humble pie, man. You're having that for starters, mains, and desserts, man. It is. You're full of humble pie, man. Like when you get in the ocean and just see the vastness of that, man. It's a very surreal feeling. It really is. But it's great conquering. Because I remember the first time we done it. Me and Bruno were the ones flying the flag down Tower Bay at the beginning. Daire liked to sleep in on a Sunday morning.
My alarm didn't go off.
Hitting his heads that morning.
Yeah, but I remember the first time we done it. It was the first boy, I think, or maybe we pushed it.
The second.
We pushed it to the second boy, and then after that, every Sunday we'd go back down and we pushed it to the third, and then the fourth, and then one morning. I think it was the week. Was it the week of the event? We done it on Thursday morning.
We didn't complete the full distance till the Thursday before. Like 3 days before, or whatever.
Because how long is Tower Bay in meters again when you do the full 4 boys and back?
800.
800 meters, yeah. And so we were, because we had to get it done in 40 minutes. I think that's what the event had said. That you have to.
Very doable.
Was doable.
But we didn't think so. Remember, we were terrified because we'd never timed it before, and we were like, "Oh, it feels like we're there for ages." And then, of course, you had the watch on that particular day, and I remember, like, you had the watch, and you finished afterwards, and I was like, "I wonder how long that is," because that brought a whole, like, I only found that out 4 days before the race, that they could potentially, you know, be like, out of the water, lads.
Out of the water, out of the race.
Exactly. and we're like, all we were thinking about up until then is just getting it finished. But now I had this element of time. I was like, oh. But sure enough, didn't we finish it in like 16 minutes or something?
Yeah, you were like 15-ish, and I came back at like 17-ish, and you were like, what was that?
Yeah.
And I looked at it going, lads, it wasn't even halfway through the time.
It just goes to show. It was a big confidence boost, but it's like you had that fitness already in there. And with the practice that came with it as well, you only improve.
But we weren't flying. It shows that they allow
they
allow beginners to go. So even if you're really, really struggling, 40 minutes is a long time.
Oh yeah, sure. Jesus, you could have had a cup of tea and then cracked on. Like
yeah.
I think what was really funny while we're still in the Tower Bay was that evening we went as a trio, and we bumped into your man that was doing the triathlon.
Some guy that was doing the race, yeah, or had done previous triathlons.
He had done a half an Ironman. He did the triathlon, and we were chatting to him.
And the boy floating.
Yeah. which was kind of really like I really enjoyed it. Like the whole.
Where else would you be having a conversation like?
Exactly, you might as well be on like a pub, bar stool.
Exactly, yeah.
It's hilarious. Like. But he was asking to us. He was a real sound lad, and we ended up seeing him on the day or whatever. And it turns out we were obviously telling him, this is our first triathlon because I think I saw he had Ironman on his hat. So I'm going to talk to this man about triathlon. And he goes, oh, the Dublin Triathlon, that's what got me into triathlons. And then we were like, oh, no way, maybe this will be, we'll have a similar story or whatever. And we were kind of, well, personally, I was like, look, I have so many questions. And I asked him, I was like, how much training would you tend to do? Like, how much training have you been doing, for example? And he goes, oh, I'm part of the triathlon club, I've been doing a good bit or whatever. And I just went, well, we've been training for the last 3 weeks. And he just went, he literally like started laughing his ass off. And that was like, oh, here we go. Potentially we're in under our head. Like,
it's funny the way we thought that way for so long. Isn't it like that we couldn't do it or that we had this percent? It's pretty a good approach to having a race. You know what I mean? It was the first time we've ever came across triathlon. It's like, can we actually do this and keep doubting yourself to the point where you actually keep on improving? Like a lot of confidence came from that swim on the Thursday when we'd done beautiful swim, early morning, got down there, 800 meters done in, like you said, 16 to 18 minutes. And then your confidence grows. And then the anticipation for the day is just, it increases your want to go and actually do the race then.
Yeah.
Let's break into the race itself, the beginning of it, when we're all huddled up before we jump in. How are you feeling, Bruno?
Oh, can I swear at this podcast?
Try not to, bro.
Go. I was pooping my pants.
Like, shitting yourself, bro.
Yes, I was shitting myself. It was completely different. Like it was that match, like sort of match day feeling that I suppose you can't get when you're training. That kind of way. So it was like, this is the real deal here.
And that's a nice feeling because obviously you haven't played football in quite a while as well. It's like you actually do seek that, man, isn't it? That nervousness before a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's anticipation and apprehension and all these words thrown into one. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But it was something that wasn't there with training because we could always say, oh, lads, I'm struggling a bit. Let's, pull over here. Or let's flow here or whatever. So, like, I think we have a clip there of it. It's like, you get called up in twos. There was like I guess there was a steward that like almost ushers you on. Yeah. And when we got into a queue that I was like maybe third or fourth to go, my heart was racing at this point.
Because is there anything that really prepares you for that moment?
No.
Apart from doing multiple races where you actually get comfortable in that situation.
It was all fun. There was a big buzz beforehand when you're waiting around and they're telling you the rules and what to do, and everybody's standing there in their wetsuits and people have a half on and everybody's kind of buzzing about it.
Yeah.
But when you're lining up and there's already people in the water and you're like, in 30 seconds we're going to be doing it, and you're going, it's arrived, and am I ready for this or what?
The time is now.
Yeah.
The time is now.
People are jumping in the front here and you're like, right,
and isn't it crazy how much it takes away from your swimming, especially because breathing is so important. When you get into the water and you're panicked.
Oh yeah.
And you're panicked not for a reason of just being in the water. It's just the beginning of the race is now here.
Oh, I think that probably wrecked my, like, not that I was going to be competitive.
Yeah.
But like
it threw you off a small bit.
It threw me off massively at the start because I remember I get called forward. Bizarrely, it was actually by Rachel's uncle, which was
someone you knew. Someone you knew. Yeah.
Familiar face. And he ushers me on or whatever, and then he kind of, as I'm walking past him, everybody was kind of jumping in, almost like like feet first to just go in and start. And he smacks me on the back as I'm going, and he goes, "Show me a dive." And I just, I was in autopilot then. I just went, oh, right, and I dove in.
And you can dive as well.
Yeah.
No, he's well able to dive.
One thing, he has a beautiful dive.
Yeah, beautiful dive.
Beautiful dive.
I wouldn't call myself Tom Daly or anything.
Maybe Tom Daly's cousin, because that was a beautiful dive. Is that something you practiced, diving?
Well, holidays we used to always like be on like rent a boat or like it was always just something you jump in.
Yeah. You like caress the water though, like he like tips it and then comes straight back up.
Glendalough was the big one.
Was a nice
but anyway,
one,
sorry, go on. He told you to dive in.
Well, in this case, it was personally I would regret doing it in the sense that I dove in and I had that propulsion with me. And I started racing people. I think because I was my heart was racing so quick, I was thinking, right, go. Where on on Tower Bay, we were literally like, I had my head screwed on to go to that buoy and make it back.
Yeah.
At this point, I was looking at people's heels. I was trying to swim past them. I was going around, and I wasted so much energy that I obviously haven't built up that fitness yet. I sprinted to the first buoy, which was only 200 meters, and I had a grueling 500 meters or whatever it was.
After,
400 upstream. I was gassed. I was absolutely gassed, and then I started breaking out the breaststroke, and then trying to get back into the rhythm, and
it's very panicky, man, because
it
was completely different. We were used to swimming in the sea where this is the Liffey, and there's all these reeds, and it's just it's so out of what you know. Like when you're in the unknown, you become more panicky because it's not familiar to you at all. You know what I mean? It feels like you're a bit lost.
You're very much so on your own as well. That was the thing that when I was there, it's like you are in the water now until you get out.
Every man and woman for themselves.
Yeah, you can't on the run or on the cycle. If you're really really gassed, you could stop. You can't stop in the water.
No.
If you stop, you have to you roll over, put your arm up, and then someone collects you. And I don't know if you're
that's your day. That's your day done.
So you're either you've completed or you don't.
Yeah.
And it's.
Do you remember the thoughts going through your head when that was happening? Being in the water.
I did. Oh, I hated it. I really did.
Really? Yeah.
There's like 3 times I was like, what? I didn't think I could go on. Honestly, I hate it. I did the first 100 to the first buoy. So it's like you swim around the top of a T.
Yeah.
Like in a C shape. And when we got around the first buoy, I had already broken into the breaststroke, so I couldn't do the front crawl.
Was it just too energy sapping for you to keep on?
I couldn't get my breathing right.
Oh, breathing.
And it was the same with
was that due to nerves or was
I think it was just I wasn't ready.
You weren't ready for it.
I grilled it out and I eventually got it done.
It was a technique you found hard.
Yeah, I was doing the kind of granny in the pills thing. Do you know what I mean? For like the whole point, and I tried to go into front crawl, and then I just get gas again. I was thinking you're better off not completely blown and like stop not drowning. Basically,
Well, fair play, man. I actually didn't know that. Well, look, you seen it through anyway.
Yeah, I suppose it's good in a way because if you put yourself through that,
you can say
horrible. It was horrible in the time. It's like I got it done.
Exactly.
But I would have preferred to have a bit more comfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But what can you expect after 3 weeks? Like I think we definitely all had our strong points. I think it was plain to see.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. Like I hadn't cycled probably in about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like before this, I don't even have a bike. I borrowed the Eagles bike. You know what I mean? So before the race,
not the Heaney did a set of wings anyway.
So like that was definitely right off. But for whatever reason, I seemed to like the swimming a lot. I think I took to the swimming.
Yeah, you were flying around.
Flying at swimming.
Yeah.
So even if your technique was.
Oh, we'd throw the instant replay of my technique going out the window towards the end. But look, it was one of those where it was a pure survival thing. Like it felt very. It was. I enjoyed it. I know you're saying you hated it, but I could have very easily hated it as well. But it was like one of those things where you put yourself in a situation you cannot get out of. What are you made of?
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it.
What are you actually made of here? You know, that's alright. Like there's people pushing. There's reeds in front of you.
You just have to keep going. A lot of there is. I remember clearly. There's a lot of self-talk. A lot of self-talk, and even thoughts that are not even associated. I was just kind of like, because it is a bit panicky, and then you kind of get into it, you get a bit settled, and then it's like people rushing past you, and then I remember just at the turn, because you were slightly ahead of me for a while of it, Brian. And I remember I was like, he's there. Better go for it now. You know what I mean? And my technique went out the window as well. The whole time I had the fear of putting my head in the water and breathing out as I was swimming. So what I do is keep my neck up the whole time, and it puts a lot of pressure on your shoulders. But I was like, when you haven't trained for it and you haven't trained properly for it, what else do you really expect? You know what I mean? How else is it gonna go? But
it's admirable in fairness. Like I mean, it was. I think I said it a bunch of times. I was like, I wanted to survive the first one and compete in the second one. That was my mentality the whole time.
That's lovely.
In terms of like 3 weeks training for triathlon, arguably never been done before. I don't know. Like I'm not going to sound stupid, but like that it's not something you do.
Yeah.
Like you need they put up a 8-week training plan for this on their socials and stuff that you're supposed to follow and stuff.
Yeah.
We were training as if
and it wasn't even the full 3 weeks.
It wasn't the full 4 weeks, I would say.
4 weeks, yeah. We kind of did a few days a week.
We did, yeah.
No.
And then post swim, how are we feeling post swim? Relieved, yeah.
And kind of, oh my god, I actually got through it.
Yeah, and what's quite interesting post swim is when you hop out of the water of a triathlon, when you finish the swim, you normally run to the next destination. What do they call the set point again?
The transition.
Transition, yeah. That transition took probably a lot of time, or added a lot of time onto the race that we had. I did not realize how quick people done it.
Yeah.
And that was a massive learning curve for me, because, you know, it's only like a minute or two that could like get you up the ranks so much more and where you finish in the race. Yeah. And I think we roughly were all about 4.5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Jesus, yeah, 5 minutes of your race is spent trying to get change and draw yourself off. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think we were 5 minutes, and then you have these guys that you might have, like, you know, you might have flown past them in the cycle or in the run or whatever, but you look back at their times, they've after clocking 4 minutes on you because they were more prepared. Just in terms of like items, you know what I mean? Like
the order, like towel on top, or like t-shirt, shorts, everything.
But I think me and you came out of the water at the exact same time.
Yeah, they were together. Yeah,
and it's a great shot. I love that shot.
Yeah,
like, I mean, the two of us get pulled out of the water at the same time.
Yeah,
but we obviously got to the transition, and then afterwards it was gone. But you look at some people, they would literally what they have for their cycle is underneath their wetsuit.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
And their shoe, like they have cycling shoes on the bike already.
Yeah.
So it's a case of they're barefoot in the water. They will run with their bike barefoot onto the road. All they needed to do is put on their helmet. They run onto the road, and as they're progressing down the road on their bike, they put their shoes on.
And they're ready to go.
Meanwhile, I'm at the beach, kind of drying myself off, changing my clothes. Like, you know, it's there's levels to it.
There's levels to it, and look, it's like anything. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
Definitely so. Well, so post swim, let's move on. How did you find the cycle in the race?
The cycle was a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
In fairness, it was not as tough, and it was fun. But however, we are underprepared with the bikes as well, because there's sickos going by with these.
Oh, there's levels to these bikes.
Yeah. Thin wheel bikes, and you're putting a lot of energy in, and sometimes
just zipping,
going half the speed of it.
Man, it's like a spaceship going past you.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It was, yeah. So we were putting in a lot of energy in the bikes.
I'm not getting much out of it at all.
Yeah.
Oh, had we different bikes, had we racing bikes, I think we would have reflected our efforts way better in terms of
100%.
You're getting overtaken by, you know, nothing wrong with it. Like, I mean, they're experienced over 55s, but like, you mean, you're hammering them in the swim and the run.
Yeah.
But they're beating you by 15 minutes in the cycle. Like,
it's not adding up, right?
That's not adding up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bikes, like,
and there was a mass, like, it was crazy, because we had just normal road bikes, where racing bikes is just
yours didn't even have racing handles. Like, yours is just a regular
normal handles. I tried to kind of lean over.
Such amateurs showing up to this event. Yeah. Like, there's so much equipment needed for it as well.
Yeah, a lot of equipment.
Really, there really is. Right. And then post cycle. Then, how did you find the run?
Oh, the run was grueling at the start. Jesus.
Yeah.
We hadn't done a proper transition or a T3 or whatever the hell it's called. We hadn't properly got off the bikes and started running, really.
Yeah.
I think in terms of, like, I was not prepared for the pure jelly leg that I got coming off the bike, because you're flying, and one of the coolest things about the transitions and stuff is you come back in, and especially the Dublin Triathlon, I don't know whether they're all like this, there's like a fanfare, there's like a festival going on at your transition. So no matter how tired I was wrecked coming in from the cycle. But then you have, like, it's like you're coming into Croke Park on All-Ireland final day, like everybody's there cheering for you. So I ended up sprinting out of the transition, like, oh yeah, here we go. And then 2 minutes down the road, I am in pieces.
You just hit a wall. But it happens. Boys, just give me 2 seconds, because the old camera has turned off. Uno momento.
Por favor. Those laws in Japan, huh?
That turned off a while ago. James did.
It turned off, I'd say, about 5 minutes ago. But anyway, so we're talking about the run, Briano, and you were saying, yeah, man, it's crazy, that feeling when you're doing a race or whatever it is, or even if you're out for a run, even just, it's not even a triathlon, you're out for a run, and you run past someone and they say, go on. They say something so simple, and it brings you alive, man. Yeah. It gives you more energy when you get that positive feedback or positive encouragement. It really does. It makes a hell of a difference. But how else did the run go after that? So did you gassed out? Did you feel like you gassed out?
I actually almost, like, broke. It was the slowest jog that I possibly had in me, because I'm thinking at this point, and it's same to what Daire's mentality maybe in the swim. I was like, I have to finish this. Like, it's but so at the ferry, if this is the very first kilometer and I feel like this, I'm gonna have to do damage limitation. Like, I jogged really, really slowly, because I was worried about what I had left in the tank. Yeah, that was what I don't know about you guys, but that was and the first kilometer of that bloody track was uphill.
Yeah.
Like you came into the park and it was a kilometre uphill, which knocked me for 6. Like, but then I actually the run itself. I remember at the end I have a clip of it. I look like I'm on his team. Some fella when we're running past the last stretch of the run, I was in bits. Like I was saying, like I'm feeling absolutely awful. I just want to finish the thing. And some fella comes behind me and he goes, "Come on, we'll cross the line together." And I just went, right. And I ended up having all this energy that I didn't think I had. And I sprinted across the line with him. So it was like, it's definitely an experience thing. Like if you know the next triathlon, you're able to handle these things a little bit better. You're able to know that I can do this. I have more in the tank.
Exactly.
These sort of things.
And probably be better prepared as well. Big time. And how did you find the run?
It was tough, in fairness. At the start, I remember my back was seizing up.
Yeah. From being on the bike?
I think it was from when you're pedaling the bike, your lower back kind of you're using that, and that was seizing up. And I was getting real thick on myself because I was like, if this is at the start of the run, and you know, down your back sees you've real shallow lungs, you can't really breathe properly if your back is. It's
I know.
Weird feeling.
Yeah.
But it went away, in fairness, after a while, which I was happy about. But it came back after like 4 kilometers. But the run itself, it was good because you saw people just nonchalantly sitting in the park looking at people going by, and everybody's like clapping you on and all that. It was good crack. There was like, I remember I was trying my hardest, and there was some like 5 foot 50 plus year old woman who was just blasting ahead of me, and I was like, I was a shout out. I was like, "Oh, fair play to you." She was laughing. I was like, "How are these people doing this?" Like, I thought I was fit, and there's a middle-aged woman.
And did that give you any extra rev to push on, or were you giving all you got then?
That was 3/4 away. I was like, I'll let her go off of this. At the end now, in fairness, some fella was shouting, going, "You have another gear," and all that. That helped. But you see some sickos there. I never gave them any. I never appreciated how hard it was. And these people are middle-aged doing it, and we found it really hard doing it. And you're thinking,
and we're young men.
Yeah. And you're thinking, these people are unbelievable. Like, they're like our mum and dad's age doing triathlons.
It's incredible.
I think it's down to it. Like, I mean, it is an experience thing, I guess. Like your body, you train it, your body gets used to this stuff. It's not like they're not beating you in a 100-meter sprint. They're beating you across the add it all together, man. That's a long distance. Like, I mean, between the cycle and the run and the swim, they're hammering you across a long distance. But the other thing was, what I found really interesting was that community. Even though they were, like you're saying, you're laughing when you go past you. What a nice community. Like,
they're very nice.
In terms of the sport, like, because I was terrified going in there because we knew nothing. We didn't, like, we're going in there, like, you went in without a helmet and you had to wear your helmet and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, everybody you asked a question to was like, you're almost worried, like, I don't want to seem a tick here, but I want to ask, can I put my towel down beside my shoes? Example or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, of course you can. Like,
it's like first day of school.
It's like first day of school nerves or whatever, but like they were the most accommodating people, and I always like worry about like let's say golf or something.
Man, you said it very well there, man. I remember it so well as you just said that there. It's like everyone, you're all playing on the same team. Everyone's playing on the same team. We all win together. So if you cross that line, it's like everyone cheers for you.
Yeah.
And you don't really get that anywhere. Like teams are normally segregated. Like, I'm against you, you're against me. But everyone wins together when they do a triathlon. There's no real losers unless you get disqualified. A different story. But so tell me, how did it feel when you came across the line?
It felt like I was pushed at the very end. It felt good, but then
you look like you just came in from a night out crossing that line.
I was in bits. And I remember talking to you after where I didn't feel any sort of sense of achievement. Weirdly enough, I didn't feel great at all. And I remember we were
talking about this. Yeah,
I thought I would have felt amazing after, and I felt kind of weird about it. I don't know what the story was. It only sank in. Yeah, it's weird.
You described it well, Brian. Melancholy, man. I felt the same thing because it's like, when you at the football match finish, you're playing for a team, you win. It's like that ecstatic feeling that you just won a game.
Yeah.
But when you cross the line, it's like, how am I meant to feel because it's finished?
Yeah.
I was very confused, like really confused to the point I was like, what was this all about? You know what I mean? I feel like I have this medal around my neck, and I know the time I finished, and I have finished it. I was like, I couldn't. It didn't add up to me. I'm very confused. How did you feel when you finished the race?
Yeah, no, same as. But I think I've been thinking about it. Actually, I thought about it for a long time after that, because it was a case of, I think what motivated us leading up to it was how good we were going to feel afterwards. So we hyped the satisfaction feeling, way up, because we're like, imagine crossing that line.
Our expectation was too high.
Our expectations were mad high, and then obviously we finish it and we're thinking, it's over. But I wonder. Well, there was two things. Like one, you've put your body through something incredibly difficult. So like I mean, your body's after getting you through something so hard. Give it a break. There's a lot of energy and excitement. We all just came across and we're like that. So that was
sapped energy.
Sapped energy. So I think that was probably the first thing. And obviously, upon reflection, we've said it a bunch of times. What an achievement it was. It's like so almost the satisfaction was almost delayed. I think.
Yeah, I think it was because I remember we did go to
Bovinity.
Yeah, we went to Bovinity. All things bovine.
Except milk. They didn't do milk in our coffee.
Yeah, what's going on with Bovinity? Yeah. But anyway, I remember sitting down there and it was only kind of then I was like, yeah. It just then it hit me. I was like, yeah. That now I start to feel what I not wanted to feel, but like what I kind of I don't even want to say expected. What I thought I might feel having done the race. It was only on reflection of actually the race because it's like you said, man. It's not instantaneous. It's not when you finish the race. Oh yes, yes, I've done it.
Unlike a match.
Unlike a match, it's a different. Yeah, it's like a different sort of sense of achievement.
But do you think what like the other half of my logic and my theory of what this because it was kind of I wasn't upset about it, but I was a little bit disappointed in the fact that we didn't do a rude Van Nistelrooy across the line. Like it was like what was that? It was at me, and I think. And I know we're talking about challenges and what's the next thing or whatever, but I actually think that somewhere that goal we saw as achievable in our own heads. We were very confident going into that somewhere. Even though we were a bit nervous, I think we all knew we're coming across that line. And I think I think your level of satisfaction is always relative to how surprised you are. So when you score a goal, you're absolutely delighted because you mightn't score a goal next week. You might you're going to complete a game or whatever, but like you might. I think we all knew we're going to come across that line.
Oh yeah, I think we did.
That sort of way. Whereas if you do something that you really didn't believe you could do, it was something so hard and you did it. I think that would be you'd feel amazing because you're almost shocked at yourself.
Yeah,
that's what I think in any case. Because if we were to do something even harder, I think we'd get even more satisfaction out of it. And maybe not that it was too easy, but we had a lot of confidence in ourselves that it was going to be completed.
That's a good point, man. Yeah,
because if I score a goal, I never score a goal. I go mad. Even, so because it's just that element of surprise and shock.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't go mad if I got on the pitch to play a game and come off. I'll be like, Grant. I do that every day.
Yeah.
It was almost predictable how we may have felt or what the feeling was going to be.
In a sense, we knew we were going to cross that line. That's my own personal feeling. I don't know.
Because I remember actually.
Sense,
no, it does.
I was so confused about it.
Yeah, actually, it does make sense because remember when we were training for it and we were training like we didn't do the full thing completely. A few Sundays leading up to it, we would do kind of a mini version of the event. Like just we'd run through it and we complete it. We go, oh, we can do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's all like we've already achieved what we set out to do. All we have to do is show up on this day and just do what we already know we're going to do.
I actually think, even if you didn't notice or whatever, I think we might have had that elation moment coming out of the water. Because I think that was our
you did anyway.
Well, yeah.
I was running for the bike going, this is shooter's year. This is shooter. If you see that video, Brian was there all smiling. I'm like, give me that green jacket.
Belongs to Mr. Gilmore. Because that was a genuine surprise, like not a surprise, but like that part I was so worried about went well because I got out of it. I think I was happy then.
Yeah. You were ecstatic, man. You really were.
After we came out of the water, you're complete, man. Personally, that's what I think it was.
Well, it's much more difficult in the water than it is on land.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
big time.
And it's something we never did. So
exactly. So post race, I think we summed that up pretty well. The one thing I want to talk about is because we did kind of briefly touch on it already, but it's like seeking challenges and the importance of really pushing yourself and seeking challenges is like we live very comfortable lives now, very like extremely comfortable that we need to go out and push ourselves. Is there any other ways just in the last while, just even like a synopsis in your own life where you feel like even just to talk about the reason to go out and push yourself into something that's difficult, the reason to go and do it. So say if you're speaking maybe to a younger person, why should they seek hard challenges? What will come from it?
Well, I think anything hard that any of us or anybody does, good comes out of it, surely.
Yeah.
Even though it's wrong in the moment.
So, such as you in the water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the moment, I'd rather not do this, but now I did something that I didn't think I was able to do, so therefore I have a new threshold of what I'm capable of doing.
And there's a lot of growth that lies there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, how are you going to grow if you don't push the boundary?
Exactly.
You gain resilience from overcoming challenges. I think. Like, well, okay, that's the truth.
You do.
So like, if you don't have challenges, normal challenges that pop up in the day to day they're gonna knock you for six. You know what I mean? Because you're like, if you live a very easy life and all of a sudden, you know, you've driven to your easy job and everything's normal, you have a flat tire. You're gonna go mad because you've never had to deal with this sort of.
There's been no challenge. Yeah, there's been no challenge.
But if it's happened before, you just go out and change the tire or whatever. So it's like, if you keep putting challenges in front of yourself, you know, like deliberately and like seeking challenges, then the day-to-day challenges or the hardships that life can throw at you, you're now more resilient against.
And you don't see it as a challenge then?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they are challenging, but in sense of like, you know, we always talk about like the cold shower or whatever. Like, that's a challenge you put in front of yourself every morning, you know, like, but you willingly put yourself into that, and now the rest of the day you fly through it because that was a really hard start to the day that you overcome.
Yeah, and it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you do the hard thing in the morning, like a cold shower, which is always rotten, and then you come out of it, and something that would have bugged you at work doesn't really, because you've already put yourself through that. So it's not as bad as a cold shower. So you're like,
it's a voluntary exposure.
This is doable.
It's a voluntary exposure. Like, is that this challenge is going to help us grow even more? It's like stepping stones. Challenges are like stepping stones. It's like you'll get to a better place once you keep on pushing that boundary out more. Like you said, Bruno, it makes you a more resilient person. You can withstand much more in life when you actually go out and seek challenges and not cower away from them. Because someone that cowers away from them, like you said, man, all the difficulties in life feel much heavier than what they actually should be. Yeah. So you can build up a tolerance to it. I think that's a great point, man. It was well said. So the last question is, would you do another one on what's next?
You know,
Mr. Breen.
I personally would not do another one.
Would you do any sort of variation of
I'll do another challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do something that's hard, but I want to branch off from...
You feel that box is now ticked?
Yeah, exactly. Rather than what I think you feel is like, I want to do a full one, or I want to do this, that. I feel like I've dipped my toe in it, I've done it, I've completed that in a sense, and I will do something else.
Yeah.
Something different.
Exactly.
You know,
something
but still
new.
Something challenging.
Something new.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think I liked it as much as you, even though it was amazing. And look, I'm really, really glad I did it. But I think there's another thing I could do
that you'd find you'd be more interested in as well.
I wouldn't know if I want to see what I enjoy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like the challenge, a lot of that. Like, that challenge is what you seek. You could be challenged to do, like, I mean, you're always talking about different things, like even just non-physical. You're talking about like challenging yourself to become better at drawing. You know, for example.
Exactly.
That's not a physical thing at all. But there's some, like, you know, you're also testing yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think I actually think the three of us are actually dangerous because they, in a real positive way. Like, I mean, we're talking about Everest there the other day. Like,
well, you were talking about Everest.
No,
you
like that was just a thing. But I actually don't. That's obviously, you know, like the biggest peak in the world. It's a massive challenge or whatever. But like, although outlandish now, because of like what we've gone through and what we're building here, it's like I don't see that as impossible. You know, like, that is definitely something that we could set out to achieve. And
that's well said, man. Like the triathlon, like the sprint triathlon, one stage was probably dawned, man. Mental. It does, man. Because if you've never done it before, it's like, Jesus, this seems crazy. And then once you've done it, it's like, okay, I could go on and probably do another variation that's a bit harder and keep on building up where you get to the point where you want to scale to the highest peak in the world. You know what I mean? It's like, I think one really important thing as well is like setting that date in the calendar as well. Having dates, man. Having deadlines when, okay, at the end of this month, I'm running this race, or in 4 months, I'm preparing to go and do Everest, whatever it may be. Is like, have it in the calendar. Make sure it's there, it's fixed. You know it's going to happen because you start building towards it. Because I love countdowns. And I love the countdown leading up to when we've done a race, because it just it gives you a bit of urgency. You know, you're not fucking around when there's only a week to go. Shouldn't be out. No drinking, no smoke, no shenanigans.
It's accountability, isn't it?
Accountability, man. You said it. It's accountability. You have that there, and let's go from here on out. So what would be a challenge that you are seeking then if it's not a triathlon? Because you are branching off into the martial arts world.
Yeah, well, I'm going to join jiu-jitsu. Well, I'm joining tomorrow. So Dean Lawara has been talking very highly of jiu-jitsu, and that's, I think, the next thing that we're going to try and do and see if I enjoy it. I think I will. I think there's something really cool about it. But that's what I mean by, like, the triathlon's done, do this completely different. Do you know what I mean? And Dino loves it. so much.
yeah.
And he says the only thing you'll be saying to yourself is, why didn't I join sooner?
Exactly.
So that's a global.
So that's another challenge you seek. And then for yourself, Brian.
I don't know, lads. I think we're coming obviously into October, and we've done it again, kind of a thing. We've said to ourselves, look, a new month is coming. How are we going to challenge ourselves differently? And I think what's really interesting about this month is everybody seems to be on the same page with regards to let's do something consistently every day and challenging almost just the routine. And our inherent,
challenge the routine.
You know, it's like challenging our inherent accountability of ourselves or something. You know,
That's it, man. It's another test. Sorry, just to give people a background. We're doing the same thing. Well, individually, we're all doing different things, but we're doing the same thing every day for 30 days. That's the goal. That's the aim. Is to do the same thing.
Be it pull-ups, press-ups,
whatever. People are skipping, whatever, doing core work, meditation,
whatever
whatever it may be. Is like people are really push themselves, but that's just building and honing in on how disciplined can you be. And like when you have a group chat and lads are posting of what they're doing, it's like there's no days off. There really is. There really is no days off because you need a show for you. That's all it is. It's like having that group dynamic where everyone is getting better. It's like no one's getting left behind. And if you're not pulling your weight, someone will call you out, and then you have to go, and then it's let's go time. You know what I mean? And you just keep on progressing. But man, I like the audacity of saying Everest. You know what I mean? Well, why? I mean, triathlon was a world away at one stage.
Sure. One thing we saw on Instagram, some Irish fella was cycling around Ireland and Europe. Imagine if he cycled from Ireland to Germany or something.
Yeah.
And how the countries you'd see, and it would be a push as well because you'd have no accommodation. You'd either be staying in a tent or you'd be staying in hostels here and there. You'd be cycling every single day. You'd be seeing different countries. Isn't
it great when you do something like this, then the experience where you can reflect on it? Like this was a real thing that happened, and we have just spoke about like how it all happened. It's like we're telling a story now of how it went about. And man, one thing it's created more than anything I can say is the bond between the three of us is just it creates such strong bonds between people when you go through something together. It is
like teammates, like GA teammates or any team where like if you went through hell
through adversity almost,
it's like people maybe you wouldn't really hang around with, but you know them through the team and you know them.
They're like a brother. They're like a brother. Yeah.
If you can rely on someone in, you know, that's what I think soldiers and stuff. They probably, you know, like if you've been in the trenches with someone, like that's a bigger bond than you're ever gonna have with your wife, your family, and like that's craziness. Like
well, being in the water and the Liffey was somewhat going through the trenches.
Yeah, exactly.
Somewhat so.
Through the gutter. Yeah.
Somewhat so. So yeah, you never know. For me personally, I was thinking about this a lot lately. Maybe to build it up, maybe to run a half marathon or do a duathlon, which is just a run and a cycle.
Yeah, it's a run and cycle.
Yeah, or maybe I'm not sure.
Run, cycle, run is a duathlon.
Yeah. A lot of planning goes into it, so whatever it may be, it's. Yeah. But the great thing, I do like running. I like running. Yeah, I've got the legs for it. But it, like we're trying to say here is seek challenges because you'll grow and become, like you said, Brian, you become more resilient to all aspects and areas of life, and you just develop yourself as a person. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, we're always talking about like you know how we're becoming more aware through these experiences, and almost like when you do more, you seek more. You know that kind of way.
Yeah, actually, hold on. You can read this because we have Oscar Wilde bottle of water here. No, sorry. Oh, he gets it wrong.
Oscar Wilde.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to clip that out.
Oscar Wilde.
It's not Oscar Wilde.
W.B. Yeats.
W.B. Yeats.
It's on the bottle.
Oscar Wilde, was he a poet?
He was a writer.
He was a writer. He's a writer.
Yeah, he would have written poems.
This picked it up 2 nights ago in a nightclub. W.B. Yeats water. The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow sharper. W.B. Yeats. So, like you said there, man, the more you look, the more you seek, the more you see. Yeah. It's so true, man. It really is. You start seeing a bit more, and your awareness becomes heightened as well.
Why not, man? Why not like go and seek?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, you're gonna live a very boring life if you don't seek something. You know what I mean?
Remember we were talking about like something that terrifies me is imagine you're 60 or 70 years old and you're not able-bodied anymore. If we're lucky enough to make it to 60 or 70, and you're like, I didn't push my body to the limit, and now I can't even walk down the stairs with a cup of tea.
And the thing is, like, we're 25 and we're young men, don't get me wrong, but it's like if you don't start doing this now, the ship sails. And that ship's gone, man. And then after that, it's like you had your chance, and now. But
so much goes, and it will get in the way naturally. Like if you want to grow through, you know, I know everybody grows in different ways, but like, I mean, maybe you want to move out and now you've got to pay rent, or you're moving, you know, you find a partner, you end up settling down, all these sort of things. But like, if you don't start experiencing now, you're just going to get further and further away from it.
Yeah.
I think it's like that. It's like we were talking. It's a stupid example, but like if you don't start trying new foods, you're just gonna start saying you don't like things you haven't tried, which is just terrifying to me. Like, just go out there and try things. If you don't like it, there's nothing wrong with it.
I think what it is being open-minded.
Yeah.
Because if you're closed-minded, it's just I'm not going to try a new experience, whatever it may be. You're just going to keep on doing the same things over and over again. Mm-hmm. Be open-minded, you know what I mean? Once upon a time, like triathlon, I would never close it off, but it's great being around people and like the lads that we have going at the moment ourselves. It's like, we just want to, like you said, seek more, see more, and expose ourselves some more, because that's where the growth lies. There is the one thing I want to finish up with. I actually wrote down a little quote, and it was by Socrates this time, right? And I think it sums up pretty well what we've been doing the last while. But I'll go for it, right? So, no citizen has a right to be an amateur in a matter of physical training. What a disgrace it is for a man to grow old without ever seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. Socrates.
That's basically what we've been...
Everything we talked about, man. Everything we talked, I thought was so relevant. I thought it was so relevant to...
What a disgrace.
Yeah, what a disgrace it is that your body go... Like you just mentioned, when you're 60 and you're lying there and you're all frail, man. You just never, like... You can't... It is a disgrace, man, because you have the choice. We all have the choice to go and train, to push ourselves, seek more. And if anyone's out there, just find a group, whatever it may be, and start doing it now before it's too late, because it is an experience to live in a body that is capable of doing many different things. To be able to run, to be able to swim, to be able to cycle. We live in the greatest creation that's ever existed. This physique that we have, you know what I mean? Make the most of what you can before it's too late.
I think we were blessed that we had a lot of opportunities, a lot of key people in our lives as we were growing up that almost instilled that. Get out and do it. You're young. Keep doing things. Yeah. We are lucky in that sense.
And it's crazy. Just to even reflect on this for a second, is like what kind of annoys me a small bit, seeing all these like scooters going around nowadays. People can't even walk. You know what I mean? They're not even walking anymore. It's like, what? You have a set of legs. Use them before. If you don't use them, you lose them.
Don't use it, you lose it. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Like even you.
Oh yeah, my
shimmied
this is a week where I can't train and I'm fuming.
Yeah.
Like, but you know that kind
but
of
you've instilled the habit of training.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Listen, gents, this was a nice conversation. I did enjoy it. Nice reflection. And it was long overdue. It's been a month since it happened, but spoke very well. And
we'll tune in when we come down from Everest.
Everest, exactly. Yeah, that'll be the next one. Well, there'll definitely be one before then, but it was an absolute pleasure. And like I said, I think the bond has definitely grown stronger between the three of us, which means so much, man. Because it's very important to have that, like that sense of we've all got each other's back. I think it's very key. I think with any friend group, it's very key. It's like, I know you've got my back. You have. I don't know. There's something that just makes you feel comfortable around being around them people. So it's yourself. But listen, everyone, I'm a guest. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. This has been a great podcast, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.